Hey, so I'm still here, I'm still alive. In yesterday's video, which I'm uploading just right now actually, I said that no more or few entries or just posting updates less often would be a good sign. But actually it's been really tough, but now I'm here, hi, and I'm alive, and I'm still here. And I just I'm not so much I'm not very good at speaking and talking about stuff right now, which is an interesting change. But I'm just, as I'm speaking, I'm actually practicing that practice of looking at myself again, and it's working nicely, though I'm not entering a balanced and peaceful state. But it's nice to check in with my body's energies. Yeah, good. So it's quite tough. I kind of seem to have made it for today. I'm sitting on my bed, but I'm kind of out of bed for today. It's like the early afternoon, I guess. Definitely before 3 p.m. I'm not sure what's the time right now. And I managed to take a shower after all. Cannot tell for sure how it will unfold in the time to come, because the way I really got out of this very negative state was by taking some of the remaining herbs I still had, and ordering new ones will take 2 weeks or something at least. So I really hope that I can gain some level of equilibrium and balance today, which I can build upon and really make today the day where I arrive here home. For example, empty my backpack and the bags with all my stuff that I've brought along, and so on. And I just got the inspiration or the idea that it might help me. I mean, you can see what a mess my room is in, and I've never really properly moved in, and that's a story I can tell about every place I've stayed since I had this meningitis when I was 22, which is a while back already. And so yeah, did I finish my sentence? So what I wanted to say is I'll see whether filming myself cleaning up and tidying up my room, or just creating a better environment, it feels like it will be really helpful, because me on my own, I would very quickly enter a state of panic and not be able to go on. But it feels different with a camera running for some reason. It's as if somebody would be there. It's almost as if another version of myself is there, and also that somebody is someone who doesn't stress me out, but rather keeps me focused and calm. But maybe less talking, more doing. Yeah, maybe at a later point I can share what transpired after my last video from last afternoon or evening. But maybe it won't matter. I mean, in the long run, it's just well, the thing is that I really am very much supported by the effects of the last rest of those herbs I've taken. It was a kratom extract, so that's a herb which is stimulating and calming at the same time, and has proven to be very useful in the past. And I never developed any kind of dependence or problems with it, though it does have kind of a bad rep. If you look it up online, so it's definitely not an ideal. It helps you function, but it doesn't have that much of a healing process or healing intelligence. Although I remember, I mean, quite a few years back, I ordered like, I think a kilogram or even more of that. So like it was like a huge jar I had, and I really took a lot of it, and it really helped me psychologically to go to work through some very painful memories or experiences or traumas from the past. So it might be useful in that aspect as well. I don't know. I just it's just the thing is, if you look it up, you certainly find a lot of not so favorable opinions, which surely is possible. I personally just never had the experience of becoming dependent on or abusing any kind of herb. Maybe with the exception of green tea, caffeine, mainly in the form of green tea, because in the form of coffee, it's my body just cannot tolerate that for a long time, or much of it. It will just be too negative of an effect. But even then, it's a far cry from any chemical synthetic substance, which all carry with them this. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. The thing, I mean, the basic negative reinforcing pattern for me, ever since I guess my early teens, has been that I was unable to function enough in daily life just to keep up with the chores and school and just life in general, and I just had to find something that would support me, because I hadn't learned to be supported by other people, and well, it's still the case that doesn't really work for me yet to thrive with or from the support of other people. It's always yeah, it's still doesn't doesn't work out really. It's just I guess it's just my unique experience and life journey that there aren't people around which have this kind of nourishing quality that would help me, and so every kind of help or support comes either with some expectation or some kind of in a way that I have to play a role and actually put more energy into the interaction with people than the help I actually receive, because it's always been very hard for me to interact with people, and this goes really deeply. This really deeply manifested in my brain chemistry. So over the years, I've been able to really observe, for example, the effect of different pharmaceutical drugs on my brain, and once I've had the chance to try oxytocin nasal spray. So this is the hormone that's well, the nasal spray is actually usually given to women, breastfeeding women, because it stimulates milk flow. Because this hormone is really important during birth and breastfeeding, especially, but also really is kind of at the top of a huge cascade of all kinds of brain functions and hormones that regulate social behavior, attachment, and like the what's called like the in-group and out-group behavior. So like if giving you a feeling of belonging, aiding in communication, and allowing you to be relaxed in a social situation, and that's why I really know the difference when I use that nasal spray with artificial oxytocin. Like my whole experience of life and my whole interaction with people totally changes. I mean, I've almost been diagnosed with Asperger's, and it's really related to people tending towards that spectrum or being on that spectrum. Though in my case the diagnosis is not valid, because it wasn't manifested from as like from birth, but only started like in kindergarten, in primary school, and later on, just once I had to interact with more people than just my immediate surround, like my family, basically. So, but yeah, diagnoses don't matter. But that's probably the reason why it's really hard to be actually supported in my life through other people. It always is as if the cost is much higher than what I get out of it. So I'm used to. Yeah, it's a complicated story. I didn't even want to go into it. But anyway, so what I wanted to say is that the basic negative pattern is to rely on some kind of outer substance, be it food or some kind of active herb, like for example green tea, that used to be my drug of choice for a long time, and it has positive sides but negative sides as well, and so on. So that, yeah, because I was talking about being dependent upon drugs and medication, and yeah, because I often wonder whether it's really true that I'm dependent on this or that substance, because I just don't experience it in that way. It's more that I just, yeah, find some kind of way to just be able to go on, and I feel very comfortable with working with herbs. I mean, right now it's like really those short-acting herbs that will have an effect in a matter of hours or a day or so, or even shorter. And when you stop taking them, the effect goes away again. But I do know a lot of about a lot of herbs that will build up my stamina and my abilities again long term, especially from Chinese medicine. I mean, there are some hormones and like supplements, nutritional supplements and so on as well, which have that effect. But maybe I'll rather stick with nature if that's possible, and I will in, I think on 7th of September I will have my first appointment at a psychiatric clinic where I'll be further taken care of, and maybe I'll be provided with some kind of pharmaceutical help that also helps me to just be stable in daily life, because that's like the foundation that just has to be there. I just noticed that I'm unable to completely manifest all that from just psychological and mental processes. I mean, I was talking about feeling pain, going into pain, and so on, but it's clearly not sustainable. And it puts you into a lot of stress, because day passes, another day passes, another day passes, and you just want to take care of you. I mean, it's obvious that it's not healthy to lie in bed all day or lie in bed for 23 hours a day, but that's been the case back in hospital, which I left yesterday, even though I actually mainly went to hospital because I was in that state, and my hope was that I'd get some help to get out of this. And I think at the moment I need outside help to get out of this, and it is possible. I mean, theoretically, being in the right environment with the perfect people would allow me to do that in a way without outside medication. I'm not sure how well it would work and really go into a stable state, but those people are really rare, or at least in my life they're really rare, and they have to be open to just accept my state without being able to rationally understand it, which I'm not either. and to trust me enough to not think that I'm playing some kind of game, or I'm just not putting enough effort into it, and so on, because the thing is that the opposite is true, and I'm actually just always being too strict with myself. So that said, yeah, it just means that I'll probably do quite well for the rest of the day today, but I cannot repeat the same thing tomorrow. Though I hope that I can maintain some kind of level of well-being, of course, and then just functionality of my body and mind. And so one of the herbs I still have, or actually the one herb I still got left, or actually I ordered, is the canna, which I've been talking about, which is like a very short-acting. It has the same, like chemically. If you look at it chemically, I think I've talked about like the energetic effect of it. That is like really heart opening and grounding. And I started taking it last night, and really the first effect from the first dose I got was just intense stabbing physical pain in my heart, and then slowly some more grounding, but it builds up really slowly, because chemically it works like a typical antidepressant, as selective serotonin uptake inhibitor, which is the type of antidepressants being prescribed these days and for the past 2 decades or so, which means there has to be some stimulation from inside of yourself and outside of yourself, which and the drug, or in this case the plant's active chemical ingredient helps to maintain that positive state for a longer time than usually and you don't. I experienced it very clearly at my time in the hospital, that there would be some kind of positive stimulus, and there would be a short up, and then it immediately would go down. So I couldn't make use of it, and so looking at it chemically, this plant has one or several ingredients that would allow the mood level and the energy level to stabilize, because it doesn't go down so quickly, because it's a reuptake inhibitor, which means the serotonin stays in the synaptic cleft between the nerve cells and goes on stimulating the receptors of the next nerve cell, and is not taken back up so quickly, because there are enzymes that will transport the serotonin back into the cell to be reused, and if you don't excrete a lot of serotonin, and one caveat is that this is often described in a very simplistic manner, so it's like more serotonin is good, or like the right level, and too little is not good. But we have to keep in mind that there are many different kinds of serotonin receptors, and that it's active in many different areas of the brain and has very different functions there. And sometimes, like I would say in my case, that in some areas of my brain the serotonin needs to go down, in some it needs to go up to be more balanced. But there's things like auto-regulation, for example, when you in some areas of the brain, when you raise the serotonin, it actually makes it go down in the long term, because the body senses that there's a high level and then starts reducing it and so on. So the good thing about herbs and natural substances is that they are just more similar and related to our own body, which can mean, of course, that they can be highly toxic, but when they're helpful, they're just more somehow more in tune with the body's own processes, and so I don't have to think about how to micromanage like every part of my brain, but can just trust that it helps me, and I will get the feedback via my feeling. So I hope that if I just continue taking it, and it just lasts for a couple of hours, so I have to really take it regularly. And from the last time when I was taking it for a couple of days, I had some that was a while before I went to the hospital, and I noticed it really helped me to stay in a certain state of balance in my brain chemistry and nervous system, and just the way I was living. And actually after that I ran out of it, things very quickly went downhill, and then I was in a very negative stage, which made me decide to try to be admitted to the hospital, because I couldn't see how I could get out of that state by myself. So I hope. So what I got now is this amount, which is actually not a lot. It will be. I can't really. I mean, it's easier with. It's also not, at least in my experience, it's also not completely true for chemical pharmaceutical substances that you really can say, okay, you take this amount at this daily, at this and this time of day. It works in the hospital because the environment is very structured, but outside it's not like this. Though I'm now maintaining the dose I've been given there, just to be on the safe side, and I don't want to experiment on this level. I actually want to get away from those kinds of drugs which are very destabilizing. I'm actually looking forward to, at some point when I've much more recovered, looking back at the videos I recorded and having a look like what it was like on under which kind of medication or in which state, which I don't state in the videos, but it I think I'll remember more or less what I was taking when I was recording what, and yeah. Anyway, so for now I feel ready to take on my room, and I should get to the supermarket at some point. It's now 2:30. It will close at 6, so I got some time left. I'm just used to thinking really in, like, usually I would think, okay, I really gotta get down there, because I'm used that things really take a lot of time if I'm able to do them at all. But it doesn't feel right to me right now, and I'll probably survive Sunday without shopping. Though it would be better to have food. Yeah, it's yeah. We'll see about that. But I wanna try try and see how I fare clearing up my room right now while filming myself. Actually, I didn't plan to talk for such a long time, but let's just finish what I started. So my hope is that yeah, taking a little bit of the canna regularly will help me maintain this kind of more functioning state of mind, and yeah, be more stimulated or awake and energized. On the one hand, more relaxed and calm on the other hand, and more centered and aligned with myself on the third hand. The other thing, I own a like a pouch where I can put my phone in, and then a padlock, a digital padlock where I can set a timer, and I want to use it again for my mobile phone, because I just notice how this urge to distract myself, this addictive behavior just to go on my phone and go on YouTube, which isn't even enjoyable at all. And I notice I'm not even able to like read a book or something like that on my phone either, or do anything productive at this point. So I want to use that again, because it's, I mean, it puts you in a very bad state if you really want to distract yourself, because you're in such an unbearable state, and then you cannot use your phone. But I mean, there's a reason I bought this, I guess a year ago or so, and I used it, and then I stopped using it, especially now these past weeks and months, because at the moment I only got my phone, so I cannot use a laptop to go into the internet or anything. So I just got the idea that I can use a laptop to distract myself. I think there's still some ebooks or something saved on my laptop, if it actually works, because I spilled some water on it, but that's a couple of weeks back already. Yeah. So I need a phone, and it's useful, but I decided that I hope the padlock and the phone pouch will turn up now, and then I'm gonna use it again. Just set it to 2 hours or so, and I won't miss anything. Yeah, I'm not. I probably won't do it like for 6 hours or 12 hours like I did in the past, because there. For one thing, like recording myself playing on my drum, or listening to inspiring talks and content is extremely helpful. So, and just taking the phone out of the equation doesn't necessarily make everything better. I mean, I might then think about taking more medication, or well, maybe, yeah, taking more of the canna, but that should be. I mean, yeah, with the canna, my experience has been that, but that it's really. I couldn't discern any negative effect yet, because it's just, as I said, it's really heart opening and it's grounding. So so it just has. I mean, the more and more the effect builds up over the days, the more amazing it transforms the way I act, and at some point then even the way I interact with people. It dissolves anxiety. It makes me more calm. It's also stimulating in a way. It's really a very for me personally. It's really very useful, and I couldn't find any negative effect so far. I noticed in the past that when you take it for an extended period of time, your body will kind of reject it. So I guess it's there might be some ways in which it might cause some imbalance in the body. Like in Chinese medicine, almost all of the herbs are seen in this way. So that's why in Chinese medicine, herbal prescriptions, you'll always have a mixture of herbs. So one herb will balance out the imbalance that another herb will cause. So they take really very meticulous care of that. And for sure, it's the same with any kind of plant or herb, no matter which one. There are very few ones which are like on the level of food, so that you can really consume them in quite large amounts over a long period of time, and they will still be positive, or at least if you don't exceed a certain amount. But even with food, you're certainly aware that you can easily cause imbalance by eating something too much of something, or something too often, or just not balancing out your diet. And the other thing why back then I stopped taking it was that I didn't want to kind of feel like I'm on drugs the whole time. Though what I'm thinking now is that it's much worse with whatever my health insurance will pay for, or my doctor will prescribe, and maybe I'm also just not really used to actually feeling good and comfortable and relaxed, and just what maybe is actually the normal way to feel, because I'm just, ever since childhood, I'm just totally used to feeling miserable, and yeah, everything being a struggle, and just there certainly never was any baseline of well-being. And I remember it was several years ago, but I was taking that daily, and there was, I was just occasionally feeling quite good and relaxed and balanced and everything. And somehow this struck me as being foreign, and as if it isn't right. And my goal certainly isn't to consume large amounts of this or that. herb daily, just for this short-term effect. But yeah, I've spoken at length about all these things. So you've got to work together with yeah. I mean, I still have to reiterate to myself that the most important thing is to be attuned to myself and my needs, and take care of them and meet them, and just build my whole life around that. Although that's not how I've been taught to live life. It's very different. I mean, the way I grew up, that's considered extremely selfish. But then when you go into it deeper, you notice all the manipulation and triangulation and entanglement this causes, because you start trying to meet your needs on a subconscious level, and it gets really messy, especially when it involves other people, or like a family dynamic and so on. So yeah, so that's the central point for me, to just check in with myself as often as possible, and see what I need and what are my priorities, which I've repeated a couple of times, and I will again, just for the sake of keeping them in my awareness, but not now. And going from there, just finding whatever helps me and supports me in this. Yeah. So I feel I kind of spend a lot of time justifying my behavior. I mean that's a typical not helpful pattern of mine as well. Again, because of the way I grew up. I mean, even today in my family, with my parents, everything has to be justified. I couldn't say well, I mean, everybody is developing and things are getting better, but the tendency is still that I can't really say I'm doing that because it just feels good or feels right, or because I just want to do it or I don't want to do it. Though it's getting much more in this direction, but of course I've very much internalized these things. And the other thing, I guess, is because of my talks with the doctors and people at the hospital who've all told me it's totally the wrong decision to let myself be discharged, and once I get back home, I'll get in that very negative state and spiral again, and I will take I'll abuse my medication, and everything will just go downhill and everything. So I guess that kind of puts me. Anyway, in a way, it's not completely wrong. It's extremely challenging, as I've noticed in the past 24 hours or so, or at least since recording my last video, and even I think in the yeah, let's say about 24 hours, I think, yeah. And actually, I didn't get back yesterday. It was the day before yesterday already. But anyway, yeah, it's extremely challenging, and the thing is also that I'm very secluded here. I haven't been interacting with my roommates or anything, but I've already said that as long as I'm not in a state where I can stomach it, so well, interacting with them is a challenge in itself, rather than something supportive. And then in the hospital there was a very extremely strict structure, like you have breakfast and lunch and dinner at very specific times and everything, and I didn't really interact with people there either, but it was just you just float along with this structure, and there are people around, and yeah, that's kind of an environment that in some ways is supportive, because it creates maybe a sense of normalcy, and then it also, in another way, it also I mean, was in some ways it was so stressful that it really pushed me to go out and sit down in the park and record the videos I recorded there. And here the better state I'm in mentally and emotionally, and concerning the state of my nervous system, the more options and choices I have, the more options I have, the more choices I can make. And the worse it is, the less there are. And then at some point, it's only about eating and what psychoactive substance, what medication or herbal medication I can, or maybe coffee. Yeah. So what can I put into my body that will change the situation? It really, at some point, it really only boils down to this, and to just letting time pass. So that's something that happened yesterday. I mean, I don't remember exactly. I recorded it on video when it was going downhill, which was at some point in the morning. And then I knew if I just let time pass, at some point I will sleep, and that, of course, that always helps a bit to balance my nervous system and brain and mind and body. And yeah, but it's very inconvenient when you have that little of choices. And yeah, in such a state, you really, I mean, I hope that there will be more and more options available, but like even today, for example, I muscle tested for an acupuncture point to press, acupressure. Anyway, it's the same points. And then what came up is are points in my lower back, and it was just like the emotional energy I felt there was just so overwhelming that I just couldn't do it, and then I get into this state of overwhelm. So I instantly went back and just opened the YouTube app and just scrolled through videos and yeah, like this. So yeah, I think last time I recorded a video, I said my next priority is to take a shower, which I did. Although now I'm completely soaked again because it's like really hot in this room. So now my next priorities are taking care of my room. Maybe if I feel like it, playing on a drum some more. Buying food. If I go into my feeling, actually it's also going into myself, meditating and feeling into myself. But it always makes me a bit afraid just that it puts me into a state where I just lay in bed all the time again. That's the thing. And to use the kanna to do my best to keep my brain in as balanced a state as possible for later today, for tomorrow, and go to the supermarket. Did I mention that? Though it feels like doesn't feel the top priority right now. Actually, I think I've been talking. I've taken too much time to talk right now because the impulse to this kind of surge of energy where I wanted to clean up my room has kind of vanished now. So I think what I'll do is just have a lie down and just lay there and drink water and do my best to stay with myself, within myself, and connect to my heart, and hopefully gain some fresh energy from that, so that I'll still be able to act in the outside world, because it's just not sustainable and tenable to just be in a room like this. I mean, that puts you into a lot of stress as well. And yeah, maybe go and get some food. I'm not sure. Might last me through tomorrow, but what I still have left, it's not ideal. But then a trip down to the supermarket will take up a lot of energy too, and to see what's really my priority. I mean, I one of the priorities I had set was to be in the garden and record a video from there every day, right? I also go for a walk. But right now it feels like my anxiety is just too high to do that. And it doesn't feel like there's gonna be something like a payoff, if you will. So, for example, last time I did record like yesterday. I did record a video from there, and I did get into a more aligned and, if you will, a higher vibration. But then that caused like this typical state where I'm just overwhelmed by everything, and my nervous system collapses, and only now I've gotten out of it after about 24 hours, and only with the help of the Kratom, which I don't have anymore, and which doesn't feel like, as opposed to the Canna, it doesn't feel like something that should really turn into a habit. Basically like caffeine, because then you take it away and yeah, suddenly you're not able to function anymore, and it doesn't have the effect of putting you more in touch with yourself and allowing you to feel what's right for you. It's a bit more of the opposite, actually, which helps, but you have to be wary of how you use it and everything. So I guess I'm gonna end on that. Yeah, I've brought up a lot of things by talking. I can feel it in my spine, and generally, I mean, I'm tuning into myself for a moment, and yeah, there's so much energy and emotions to be processed. So it's a bit anticlimactic, because I thought I would just start cleaning up now, but now it's like taking over more and more, like this heaviness and yeah, all this weight and everything. So I don't even feel like drumming anymore, and once I switch off the camera, I won't really have the energy to sit. I mean, if I really make an effort, I won't last for a minute or something like that. It's so I'm kind of hesitant to close, but I see it's 59 minutes, so I'll just keep going until the 1 hour mark, and then I'll stop and go on without the phone, and I hope I'll find the padlock and everything soon, so because that would be a good moment to put the phone in there and set the timer to 2 hours, so I'm just forced to somehow cope without my phone. Just taking a few deep breaths. And connecting to my heart. And that's it. So it's, I can really feel how everything is really going downhill right now. Maybe because I talked about so many things, and then it brought up all those energies and emotions. Maybe the effect of the herbs I took is already waning. Don't know, but I guess it's no use to keep on talking. And just very unceremoniously, I'll press the stop button, and well, see you again. And as you can see, I'm still surviving, and things are still. I mean, it's challenging. It's inconvenient, painful. It's confusing. It's frustrating. It makes you despair, but I just look at myself right now, and I'd say it's still okay. Still a chance. Still some potential. So yeah, we'll meet again. Have a good day. Bye.